Okay, so the purpose of this video is maybe for people to think about something that, or you to think about something maybe you haven't thought about before, and to draw attention to something that can be quite difficult and potentially very dangerous, I think. Right? So the question I want to ask here is, who potentially has more stress for translating a language? Okay. And I want to have UN translators, probably the best in the world. They get the training they need. Or a first officer on a flight. Now, of course, these jobs are different. You can't, no two things are ever exactly alike. So someone can always say, well, that's entirely different. Of course, everything's entirely different, for whatever you're talking about. But, just for fun, we can compare these. So this type of person, they're hearing a language in one ear and they're speaking it. So let's say this person hears listening to Korean, but speaking English or Spanish, for example. Spanish in one ear, English coming out. Or the opposite, English in one ear, Spanish coming out. Or speaking Spanish. Same for the first officer. The first officer might be flying into New York, for example, JFK. And the captain might be speaking English to them. All right? Maybe not so nice, or it might be speaking Spanish to them, and then they have to speak English. Or you have English coming in this from the controller who might not be happy. All right? So we'll think about these two here. Now, first of all, let's look at the environment for the UN translators. Nice air-conditioned office, got a computer here, nice microphone, nice comfy chair. Seems pretty nice, right? Or, VIP status type. But look at the first officer here. He or she might be in some smaller cockpit or something. Maybe not so comfortable. Maybe after a long flight, they just flew 10, 12 hours, something like that. This is an older picture here. But let's also think about other things that the first officer has. There might be a thunderstorm, right? There could be a fire going on, okay? The captain could be angry. The controller could be angry. There's a lot more happening for this person, okay? And of course, for languages, they get a lot less training. And their life is on the line. Not only their life, but all 250 whatever passengers on the flight. So I'm going to say that the first officer, it's quite a bit more stressful, quite a bit more difficult. All right? So maybe you ask, well, what can go wrong? Well, let's say like a UN translator makes a mistake. Well, the parliament could start fighting. I mean, this is not good. This could be a bad thing. I don't know if that's happened. It might have. Nomi Hyun's translator in Korea and was talking to George W. Bush, and there was a few problems, but it didn't get quite this bad, but potentially. But what if the first officer doesn't catch what the controller is saying? Uh-oh, boom, okay? And this has happened here. This is the Saudi Arabia, Saudi Airlines in Kazakhstan in the mid-90s, because this crew didn't really speak too well. But that's kind of a situation that could happen. And that was in, I don't think bad weather, but you're dealing with accents as well. So something to think about. If you want to, leave a comment, or as best you can, support your local first officers and captains too for language training, proper language training for pilots. All right.